Hello and welcome to the podcast, A Life of a Woman. I am your host, Callie, and today I am here with hubby again for his second episode.
Round two.
And today we are talking about the love languages because we mentioned this in our episode together, which, if you haven't listened to that, that's episode 9, and it's all about our 10 years together in a relationship. It's a long time. So we kind of just share like our experiences and what we do to stay connected to each other, especially amongst busy parent life now. But in that episode, we mentioned the love languages. So I just thought that I would get Robert back on and we can do a bit more of a detailed episode on the love languages and what they are. Before we get into that, I just want to say this is my first official podcast, like going onto YouTube. So we've got like the proper camera now. You can see us. So if you are listening and you would rather watch, then you can jump over to YouTube and have a watch of us just being goofy. And it means now that you see all the many expressions and faces that I especially pull. Robert's always telling me my face is doing things that I don't realize it's doing. So now you get to watch them on YouTube. I don't know if I'm going to regret that decision or not, but there
You
you go.
probably will. Yeah.
There you go. We're on YouTube now. All right. So I wanted to start this episode with just explaining the love languages for those that might not have heard of it before or have heard of it and not sure what it is. So the love languages are by a guy called Gary Chapman, and I meant to have my book here, but yeah, the love languages are by Gary Chapman. He's got a website and a book as well, and I highly, highly recommend the book. And so, what the love languages are is like taken from his website. So he explains it as different people with different personalities give and receive love in different ways. So by learning to recognize these preferences in yourself and in your loved ones, so it's not just like your romantic relationship, it's loved ones in general. So by learning these preferences, you can learn to identify the root of your conflicts, connect more profoundly, and truly begin to grow closer, which is amazing. So the way to find your love language is going to the love languages website. You can just internet search love languages quiz, and there's a quiz on there and lots of questions, and it will then spit out your preferred love language. So there's 5 love languages, and they are physical touch, acts of service, words of affirmation, quality time, and gifts. And we'll kind of go into them a bit more in a minute. But they're the 5 love languages. So doing this quiz will then spit out your preferred love language. So then it's really great to share this with your partner, with your loved ones, so that they know what love looks like from you, but they also know how you like to receive love, and so how they can show their love to you in a way that you'll receive it in that way. So yeah, it's really designed to like help people grow closer, help to really understand the root or kind of prevent like conflicts that often arise. And that's what I really loved about Gary's book is because he's a not career count, a couples counselor. And so his whole book is just scattered with examples of tension and conflicts that have come up in relationships and how he's used the love languages to actually help them understand the root of the conflict. And therefore, this is actually like what your partner is saying without saying it, so therefore, this is how you can respond in a more kind of positive and understanding way, and just helping couples to like really understand each other. And yeah, so it was really great. So I reckon we'll share now our experience because I came across the love languages well before Kai, so like what, maybe 5-ish years ago.
Mm.
And I can't even remember how I heard of it. I heard that there's different ways we like to receive love. And I think I grabbed onto that because Robert is always saying, I love you. And so in at this time, it was like, he was like, he's always saying, I love you. And it just didn't, like, I don't really say that to anyone. A lot from like childhood experiences and stuff, but also it's just not my preferred love language. But yeah, so he was always saying, I love you. And I was like, why is he saying that all the time? And why can't I say it back to him as often as he says it? And why is it that sometimes he'll say it and like I actually get a little bit annoyed by it? So then I heard about the love languages and I was like, oh my goodness, this makes so much sense because words of affirmation, so things like saying I love you, are your second preferred love language. So I was like, that totally makes sense why he's saying it so much because that's him giving me love. It's just not, I'm just not receiving it as like the kind of love that he's giving. So yeah, and then so I broached it to him and I did the quiz. I made him do the quiz because he's a good sport and goes along with all my wacky things. And it was really great because at the time the quiz gave you your percentage for all five love languages. So you could actually see like you're ranked 1 to 5 in the love languages because we all have all of them. It's just different at different levels. Whereas now the quiz only gives you your first preferred love language. So yeah, so then we wrote up our love languages and they're on the fridge so we can see like in order, this is what we prefer. And I have loved it ever since. Like I love it. I can see when he's doing things that is showing me love. And if I'm not receiving it as love, I can at least say to myself, that's him showing me love. Like I need to, how amazing is that that he's choosing to show me love? So I need to then do, I'm gonna then do something to
Yeah, you
reciprocate.
better accept it. Yeah.
So yeah. So did you want to say anything about our experiences with the love language?
Well, being that your second favorite is acts of service, that is why I'm on the podcast today.
Yes. Okay, so let's go into the details of the five love languages, each of them, and we'll do it in like our kind of order. Well, we can start off with our order and we'll go through each five and explain maybe how you see it, how I see it, because it's not just saying that, acts of service is your preferred love language or physical touch or whatever it is, because we all then within that have preferred ways of what that might look like for us. So yeah, it's not just like a blanket thing. You can then really personalize it. So let's get into the five love languages and we'll start with physical touch because luckily for us, both of our first love languages is physical touch, which is so awesome. Um, so yeah, let's talk about physical touch. So what does physical touch mean to you?
Uh, Physical touch to me would be just those passing moments where we grab each other, just like kind of give each other a little bit of rub on the shoulder, kiss, and doing it.
Of course.
I am a guy.
Of course, doing it. And then for me, physical touch. Sorry, just trying to put on the aircon. It's very hot now that he's physically touching me. For me, physical touch um, is, yeah, I really like my back being touched and my head. So like hairdressers even, like it makes me feel very loved. Not in a creepy way, but it makes me feel very loved. My head, and my back, yeah, being touched. So massage is a really big thing for me. And hugs. I love big bear hugs where I'm just like I can just melt into somebody's arm. And that's why, like, it's not just for intimate relationships, like with friends as well. Like, I'm such a hugger. I love giving my friends like big bear hugs. It's real. I really like get a vibe for someone, or I really extract a lot of meaning from the hug that people give me. And so, like, I can really tell when friends are a bit off, or if someone's giving me a hug that is just not like that big bear hug, I really notice it, and that has a lot of meaning for me, which is really interesting. But
Yeah.
yeah, because we're both physical touch, as soon as we
I,
meet new
I kind
people,
of force myself onto people straight away.
we just love people.
Just hug them.
Yeah, you just like jump on people whether they want like a hug or not.
Yeah, I do feel
Like,
bad because I do see people just kind of cringe back, like, what's this person doing to me right now?
yeah, I kind of give them a verbal heads up. I'm like, sorry, we're huggers and hug people at least, but at least like I see that as then like people know who we are as people, and then they can choose whether we're that vibe or not, whether we're hugging. Yeah. for huggers. Okay, so we are both, so I'm 33% physical touch and you're 30% physical touch. Let's get into words of affirmation because that is your second preferred love language. You've got 27% as that as your preferred love language. So what does words of affirmation mean to you?
So obviously, I like saying the words "I love you." Hearing them back is quite nice too, whenever she feels like it.
So you know that, but that means that because that's not my preferred, you know that when I do say I love you,
Yes,
like you know
I
that's
understand.
that's really like, whoa, that's a
It's
big
usually after
love
I do a
sign.
bit of acts of service.
Yeah.
So with words of affirmation too, it's kind of like an acknowledgement for me.
Mm.
So when I have done maybe an act of service or done something around the house, just the thank you, the appreciation for it, thanks for doing that. It just gives me that little bit of a pump up.
Yeah.
Um, and then it makes me want to do more, basically.
But that's where these love languages are not just about your intimate relationships, they're about your friendships. So getting compliments from friends, it like can feel like love as well. And like even in the workplace, like I really like to get to know my team and my colleagues like as individuals. And so I make almost everyone do this love language quiz or like ask them, hey, what's your love language? Because if you're working with a group of people in like close proximity, it's really handy to know, like, if someone does a good job, like, how do I show them that, I really appreciate what they did? Do I give them a hug or do I buy them flowers or do I say to them, hey, good job? So that's where I think for you as well, it's not just hearing I love you or, I'm really proud of you. It's not just coming from me. Like, words of affirmation is your second. So that's, you like to hear those positive words from your friends, your
Friends from the
bigger family,
workplace,
from
yeah.
workplace. And I really do notice that, like, if he's not um, feeling like he's getting that recognition and that positive encouragement, like I do, not just from like home, I mean, like from workplace and outside of the home, like I notice that as well. So it just shows how important it is for us to receive these little bits of love throughout our day from many sources. Like it's not just about that one key person we've got in our life. So yeah. Yeah. So words of affirmation are my third preferred love language. So that for me looks like, yeah, compliments, encouragement from friends. I'm also a really collaborative decision maker. So you start laughing straight away. So I like will honestly talk about my potential decisions with like everyone. If I'm making a decision that week, everyone I meet is like hearing about I could choose this or that or this or that. And yeah, it's because I like to hear from friends like what do you think? What's been your experience? What do you see? Like, yeah, that's something that I do as part of my words of affirmation is really like having these conversations and sharing these words
She'll
and
ask me
decisions
what
together.
something looks nice on her. I'll tell her my opinion, and then she'll ask four other people with the same thing.
That's because you're biased and you've admitted that you're
I'm
biased.
very biased, but I'll tell you if what you're wearing is ugly.
So yeah, that's words of affirmation. Anything else you want to add?
No,
No?
I think you got that covered pretty
Okay,
well.
cool. So then my second preferred love language is acts of service, and that's your fourth preferred love language. So you can kind of see here now, like when you understand what's your like first versus his fourth or whatever it may be, like how there can be tension when you're not feeling like your partner is giving you love. It's yes, they are giving you love. It's just not, you're just not receiving it in the way with as much. I don't know if there's a loveometer and they're giving you like a 10 of love because that's how that love language means to them, but if that's your fourth love language, you might only be receiving it as like a
Three.
level 3 or something. So you can see then how people are like, I don't feel loved, I don't feel connected, like, and all this conflict comes. It's because we're giving and receiving love in different ways. And so yeah, really understanding that when people do something, that's them expressing love. Like, even if you don't receive it like that, you can at least understand they're making that effort. So, Yeah. Anyway, I got lost track. So acts of service. So that for me is, especially in an intimate relationship, is like helping me with stuff around the house. And that's where I'm so grateful for learning this because he's always saying I love you. And what I was getting frustrated at that I now realize is I was thinking, well, if you really loved me, you would help do the dishes or you would help do the vacuuming or clean the bathroom or something. So that really helped to ease a lot of tension in my mind and how I received it because we then had this language and these labels that could say, I understand that that's how you're loving me and I really appreciate that, but this is how I really want to receive love right now. And that is like you doing the dishwasher. Like, is that something you could do? Because that would show me love. And so it's really helped, like, just verbalize that.
So just to be clear, I do those chores.
Yeah, no,
I don't just
yes.
sit around on my ass and not do anything. But if you want something done, I'd prefer to you just be straight up and just tell me straight away.
Yeah.
Just say, can you do the dishes? Sure. And if I say I'm going to do in 5 minutes, don't start doing them. Let me get there.
Oh gosh, let's not overcomplicate
Do it in
it.
5. Let me finish what I
Let's
was
not that overcomplicate.
doing.
Let's not go there. But yeah, it's about like him them understanding like that's what I need to see those things to feel that love. So yeah, that's really acts of service. And so acts of service for you is your fourth one.
Yeah.
So what does acts of service look like to you?
Um, because it's my fourth one, I don't really focus on it too much. I don't really
Yeah.
care because it's like a small percentage too as my fourth. Um, if you do something around the house, I probably don't appreciate it as much. I don't say thank you as much, because it's not on my radar as a top thing for me.
Yeah.
Whereas it's third for you, so when you do those things, I need to show more appreciation for it.
Yeah.
So just the fact that, I come home every day and there's a lot of washing done and hung out. I've got a work shirt for the next day. I don't have to worry about that. And it's something that I've become accustomed to because you're just always doing it without me.
Because that's how I express love is doing
Acts of service.
the jobs around the house and trying to keep on top of the house. Yeah.
So it is something, I don't want to start taking for granted because it's very appreciated. But I just got to vocalize it more because if I
There's that
don't, then
words
you
of
don't know.
affirmation there.
That's it.
The vocalizing. And yeah, if you're trying to show acts of service with friends, like I've had friends that when we meet up for a walk or I've gone to pick them up or something and they'll have a coffee there for me and it's not the gift of the coffee. It's for me, it's the thought behind creating, like making that coffee or going and buying that coffee. Like that again is like a form of acts of service, is that someone's taken time and effort to go and do something for you that you may or may not have done for yourself. So, yeah, that's acts of service. That is very close second to physical touch for me. Like acts of service, yeah, physical touch and acts of service are my top two. So we really try and just focus on not just, but hit those top two love languages quite regularly for each other. So for me, it's physical touch and acts of service, and for you, it's physical touch and words of affirmation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Words of affirmation is my third one. So then we go to your third one, which is quality time. And that's my fourth one. So yeah, this is where we start. Yeah, again, not tapping into those as often,
Because
but
of the percentage difference as well, there's a big
yeah.
percentage difference there for that's
Yeah.
same one.
So what does quality time look like for you?
So quality time for me, like obviously, I just want to be around you. Like we don't have to be doing something together, just in the same space.
Mm.
You could be doing something you're focusing on. I could be doing something that I'm focusing on, but I just want to be in the same space as you.
Mhm.
Um, when we do go out and do activities together, then I want to be just engaged in that, nothing else. Don't want to bring anything else up. I just kind of want to do that. Um, and just be in that moment together. That's my kind of quality time.
Yeah.
Same with Kai.
Yeah. So for me, quality time, it's my fourth one, so I don't need it as often, which is again where understanding each other is so important because Robert will try and organize a nice thing for the two of us, or he'll see an activity or an event and he's like, let's go to that. And then usually,
Your first
probably
response. Your first
90%,
response.
90% of the time, my first response is, yeah, that sounds great. These friends would love that too. Let's invite them. Or hey, I saw this really cool thing. Let's invite them. Or, hey, we actually have some child-free time. Who are we going to invite around? And so and so that can get him a little frustrated because he wants that quality time, whereas I don't need that as much. So just having these, again, labels and you can, you need to individualize them, but just having these labels or this language that we can then verbalize, like he can then say, actually, I really need some quality time. Like,
I just need like a fly
yeah,
swatter to just whenever you come
just
up
hit
with
me
saying
with
that.
it. And yeah, so quality time for me looks like really short windows. Like I only need like an hour or two, get out of the house, go and do some kind of hands-on activity, and I'm good. Like I really don't need a lot of quality time. And for me, quality time is not being in the same space. So that's where we're different. Like Robert said, being in the same space, like that is okay quality time for him. Whereas me, it's quality time is us in the like on working on the same activity together. So, and especially no screens. Like if there's screens around for me, then that's not quality time. Apart from now, this the
No,
yeah. Our laptop screen doesn't count. But yeah, for me, screens are not around. So it's like we could do even, like a 15-minute, half an hour puzzle or a board game. I freaking love doing puzzles and board games and card games, but really also love venturing and getting out and about and finding new places. So that for me is quality time. It's really sharing experiences together, and participating in like the same activity together. So not just, um, not just, being in the same space. So that's quality time. And yeah, you can do so many things with quality time with friends and colleagues, like sharing a lunch break together and movie nights and coffees, dates and going on a picnic. I freaking love going on picnics and being out in nature. So yeah, I think quality time for me is like nature focused, like or at least out of the house and um, around nature or a winery or playground or beach or something. So, yeah, it's just really using these things to help explain what you need. So, so each of those four languages are in our top four. So, not only do we have the first love language the same, we have the last love language the same, which I just feel like go us. This
that's
is
fine.
why we're so like on the same page about things. So our last love language for each of us is receiving gifts. So sorry, friends, this is why I don't usually give you gifts for birthday parties because this is not how I express my love. So what does receiving gifts, what does that look like for you?
Just excess effort that you don't really need to go through. We're adults now. As much as like the thought process is there of receiving a gift, it's like I can go buy stuff myself if I need to.
Yeah.
Um, and with birthdays and all that and Christmas, the obligation to go out and buy a gift, it's just so draining because you don't know what people want, what they have already, or are you just going to give them something that's going to clutter up their house? Like, because I would give you something just to annoy you. Um,
Clearly not his love language.
I I feel like I'm spending too much time running around the shops looking for something that's I don't even know if you're gonna like, and then you have to put on the facade of going, "Oh, thanks."
Well, receiving gifts for me is only 7% of my love language, and receiving gifts for you is only 3% of your love language. So we are really not gift givers. Certainly appreciate getting gifts more than more than I enjoy giving gifts, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's really not our love language. And I guess for me, the types of gifts that I like to receive are connected to those earlier love languages. So my favorite kinds of gifts are like massage vouchers or hairdresser vouchers because physical touch is my first preferred love language. Or I love receiving gifts where you might take me out for lunch for my birthday because quality time is more important to me than the gift. Or having a kid-free day or someone doing homemade, biscuits or cake or something. Like that is so much more preferred to me than going and buying something, like spending money on something.
And if you do get
Yeah.
a gift from me, just know that that's how much you mean to me, because I
Yeah.
couldn't care less.
We've actually gone out of our way. And so I think that's where we do try, like we would, if we give gifts, it's usually vouchers because it's more about the experience
Yeah.
and stuff that we then want to pass on to you that you can choose what you want to do with it based on your love language. And
Or I give
yeah.
you a bottle of alcohol, which I expect you to open up and share with me straight away.
Oh, so yeah. That's gifts and that's the five love languages. So is there anything you wanted to say about them? Like would you like any
That's
advice you want
it.
to give if
Based on my
people
first
do
two,
them?
physical touch and words of affirmation, basically all you have to do is pat me on the head and tell me I'm a good boy. So I'm like a dog, really. Um,
You need to give me a back rub and do the dishes. But yeah, I just highly recommend people going to the Love Languages website and doing the quiz to find your love language. I will pop the link to that below. I've also created a Love Languages freebie where it just explains that process and has the links to finding your own love language and how to have conversations with your partner and your friends about it. But also then I've got the five love languages and I've given ideas on what this means to you or like what it could mean. So then you can go through and highlight or circle those ideas that do fulfill you. So for physical touch, I've, got cuddle on couch, a secret handshake, rest your hand on my back, stroke hair. And so you can actually like circle or highlight those things that say to you, yes, this is how I want to feel love. So then you can share that with your partner, or you can create your own ideas as well and share that with your partner. So then you're saying to them, hey, this is how I like to receive love. And then vice versa. They can circle and highlight and write down their own ideas of what each of the love languages means to them. So then you know how to show them love. And especially when parents, like I just find this so important because you don't have hours and hours to just lie around in bed or on the couch or like spending, hours and hours of quality time together when you have little ones that are demanding your attention and you're juggling jobs and everything. So,
and they have their own love languages too. You just
oh
don't know it
yeah.
yet because they can't do the quiz.
Yeah, but I'm definitely picking up like every day I'm like reading like what's making Kai happy today, what is helping to soothe him out of a tantrum, and I definitely think that word physical touch is one of his top two or quality time is one of his top
Top
two.
two.
Like they are his top two. And so especially when he's having heightened emotions or just feeling really disconnected, like if we haven't spent a lot of time together, like he's been at daycare or whatever, then I really make sure I prioritize those two love languages and give him a lot of that. And I really find that it does help to yeah, just keep him grounded and connected and stuff, especially quality time with mum because he's such a mama's boy. That is very important for him.
Yes, he is.
Very important for him. So, yeah, so they're the love languages. That's how you can apply it in your intimate relationship. But also, I do encourage you to have these conversations with your friends and with your colleagues. And I've made like pretty much all of our parents, our siblings, do the love languages quiz. And it's been really useful to then know they've got a birthday coming up. Like, I don't have to feel this stress of giving a gift because that's not my love language. But hey, it's also not their love language. So, there's no point giving a gift if it doesn't make me feel good and it doesn't make them feel good.
Oh,
So
it's some of this, yeah.
some of them, yes, but other people like they would rather that I do take them out for lunch or they would rather that we have a big family day together. And so you just like give that as the gift. Yeah, so that's really awesome. just having these extra ways of understanding people, because I really believe the more that you understand yourself, the more that you can help others to understand you, and the more you can like advocate for your needs that do make you feel good. And because when you feel good, then you give good to others as well. So yeah, I'm all about finding all these unique things that help you to understand you. But yeah, they're the love languages. Download my freebie for ideas on how to use this with your partner. And yeah, anything else you wanted to say about them?
No, I'm pretty good. I'm
No.
complete, yeah.
Well, thank you. This is your active service for today. So,
So I get
look,
couch time for the rest
it
of the
can,
day.
it can happen in like, just 20 minutes around like kids and work and stuff. Like just 10, 20 minutes, those physical touch things, just putting your hand on their knee while you're watching TV together or something. Like yeah, it just really means that you can give love to each other amongst the chaos of life, because it just happens in those small moments. So yeah, that's all for today. Thank you for listening to today's podcast. Go and check out the YouTube if you want to. And yeah, that's it from me. You want to say goodbye?
See ya.
No. Bye,
Bye,
everyone.
everyone.